let's move into some more precise thinking around sacraments, and how, you know, your own thinking about the theology of the Holy Communion and other sacraments, how they can be shared. Can you share some more of your specific thinking around that?
Yes, I've been arguing in a personal capacity, not as chairman of this or that, or vice president of this or that. In a person, just as a thinking Christian and a bishop who tries to keep his theology alive, about the sacraments. Let's start with baptism and the Eucharist. I don't think there's an absolute substitute for a baptism in water in the name of the Trinity, or certainly in the name of Jesus Christ, actually in water with a real profession of faith, a personal faith and some element of penitence. Those are all essential elements of baptism, it seems to me. But, having said that, again, the Church has always recognised that if a person, a hard to imagine situation, but a person is intended to be baptised, they're very sincerely preparing themselves, they're going to make a confession of their faith in God as Father, Creator, Son, Spirit, and on the way to church, they get knocked down by a number 15 bus. Mm-hmm. The Church has always taught, in terms of sacramental theology, that that person is as if baptised in the eyes of God. The physical signs and actions are very important indeed, and I'm not saying they're unessential. They are normally essential. But in a crisis situation, the Church has always taught that the baptism of desire, that person wanted to be baptised, and God will sort that out. Mm-hmm. Equally, touched on it already, if there's a person who cannot actually physically receive Holy Communion, and maybe they're in a wheelchair, a bed at home, or in hospital, or in a care home, and for whatever reason they're simply not physically able to receive Holy Communion. But they watch a communion service on television, or a virtual communion service in a virtual church. I'll come on to that, because that's another issue attached to that. But people can make what is quite traditionally called a spiritual communion, and the reality of God is there, even if on this occasion the physical molecules of bread and wine consecrated as the body and blood of Christ are not there. But there's another physical means of the transmission of that grace, I would say.
So when I was taught, you know, that the sacrament is an outward and spiritual sign of an inward and spiritual grace.
Outward and visible sign.
Outward and visible grace.
I do.
It's that whole business of the important bit of that is the inward.
Yes, because the point of the outward sign, the point of the outward sign is the inward and spiritual grace, the invisible side of it. And normally, according to Christ's ordinance, bread and wine, that's the way it happens. But God can bypass, I don't think God bypasses the physical, but he can bypass the designated covenantal physical signs. That's for God to do. We don't change the signs in the church, we have to receive what we're given. But God can use other physical means of his spiritual grace, for example, the screen. Mm-hmm. That's the area that I've sort of been exploring.